Good morning. Welcome to Fairfield Friends Meeting. It's nice to have so many visitors here, and the old folks too. Please turn your cell phones to airplane mode or turn them off to increase the bandwidth for the people on Zoom. My name is Linda Bryant, and I'll be your worship leader this morning. Our opening hymn is in Worship and Song number 7, Come Thou Almighty King. Well, welcome, children of all ages on Zoom and in the meeting house. I walked off this morning without my Sunday go-to-meeting bag, so I have no notes and I have no props, but I do have a volunteer to be a child. Hey! No. So I left my prop at home, so I'm going to have to borrow one of the mysterious church bunnies. So, here you go. I'll take this later. Now, can you remember when you were a kid if there were any rules that you did not like? Okay. We have good memories, don't we, for things we don't like. Joanne, you were nodding your head. Was there a rule that you didn't like? Yeah. Like, maybe you didn't want to have to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I remembered I had a special dispensation from my parents when I was in 5th grade to stay half an hour later so I could watch one of my favorite shows. Anybody else? Rules you don't like? Oh, hate them. That's cruel. Oh, jeez, no. No. Any other rules you don't like? Yes. Oh, dishes. Yes. We generally don't like chores. Some of the rules are really annoying. Some we don't understand. Some we think are silly. Some of them are good, though, like don't run out on the road, you know? The Bible has rules. The most famous rules in the Bible are probably the 10 Commandments. Some people think God gave us rules just because he doesn't want to have, he, she, they don't want us to have fun. But when you think about the 10 Commandments, they basically are love and respect God. Love and respect other people. So honor, respect your parents, your husband, your wife, your partner. Love and respect your neighbor. Don't kill people. Don't hurt people. Don't steal from them. Don't lie. Do they help? Following those rules make us happy, right? Make it a better place. We're better off. Other people are better off. Probably the most famous rule that Jesus ever gave was the golden rule. Treat others the way you want them to treat you. If we do that, we're in harmony with God and other people. If we don't, we break that relationship. We break that relationship. And we sometimes call that sin. When we break relationships with God and other people, that's sin, and it's up to us to mend that relationship. Now, my volunteer here is going to help me here. Rex, that's your favorite toy, the church bunny. And we're friends. What did I do? What did I do? Did I follow the golden rule? Would you like somebody to take your church bunny? How does it make Rex feel? I have broken that relationship with Rex. Does he like me now? Maybe. Does he trust me now? Does he want to be with me now? No. Who's responsible for bringing us back together? Me, because I broke the rule. I caused the separation. So, first thing I want to do is say, sorry. Does that fix it? Is it a pretty good start? No. Okay. How about this? I'm sorry. Is that better? What else do I have to do? I have to say, I'm sorry I was wrong. Here's your bunny back. Can you forgive me? Can you be my friend again? I won't ever do it again. Thank you. Have I mended that relationship? He had to cooperate too. We both have to cooperate to mend that relationship. So remember, break the golden rule, break the relationship. You are responsible for bringing it back together. And what was also in that Sunday Go to Meeting bag was my coloring handouts. But if you come back next week, I'll put them out there, and you can pick them up. Thank you.
Now, to be fair, if you want to get back on God's good side,
you got to give it back to the church.
if you want to get back on God's good side, you'll have to make a significant donation to the church.
His words. Although I don't disagree. Thank you.
Rex, now we know you can act.
It's now time for community sharing. We'll start with announcements, and we'll start with our friends on Zoom. Does anyone on Zoom have an announcement? Seeing none, we'll move to the meeting house. Does anyone in the meeting house have an announcement?
It is on. Anita Kamek, a couple of announcements. First off, today is our day for meeting for business, so that will happen after the rise of service around noonish to give everybody a chance to have a little bite to eat, if you brought something. The other thing is that for those of you who haven't been here for a couple of weeks, we're having a cleanup day on Saturday, this next Saturday, the 22nd. We will start at 8:30 in the morning, hopefully to avoid any terrible heat if there is some. So I'm going to put out a list of the tasks that we want to accomplish. So maybe those of you who think maybe there's nothing you can do, I assure you there is. And maybe to allow you to figure out, gloves, bring clippers if you have them. I'll bring a bunch of stuff as well. So I'll send that list out this week, so everybody knows what's happening. And then I want to give a special shout out to a couple of people. Debbie and Sally have done some pre-work for us, and yeah, thank you very much. They've done some cleaning of garden beds. They cleaned the front sign, which I didn't even think about, and it was yuck, so thank you, but apparently has grass on it again, so we'll look at that. But yeah, but anyway, thank you for what you did there. And then also, Thomas Duran has cleaned out that bird bath that is heavy as lead. So he got that cleaned out very nicely, so I appreciate that. So we'll get the rest of the tasks done, and hopefully we'll be all nice and sparkly for our bicentennial. I'm hoping that the work on the roof and the painting isn't going to squish our gardens. So let's hold our gardens in the light. Thank you.
Ann Tarpon for Ministering Council. Next week, this is a whole string of announcements about next week. So first thing is there will be no chat room next week. That's the quickie announcement. Second thing is next week will be our first session on transition with Tom Rockwell. We're holding it during this time because he wanted the maximum number of people in the meeting to participate. So friends, relatives, attenders, members, everybody that has an interest in Fairfield. It will be a little different. We won't be having as much of a worship service. There may be a little bit, but not a lot. He's going to talk about transitions. This is the first one. It will be kind of a background thingy, I think, if I understood him right. And it will be an hour and a half. So you'll be here 10:30 to noon. Just prepare for that. The good news is it's also our fall, pre-fall, late summer pitch-in picnic, indoor picnic. So after we've been here for an hour and a half, then we can go right out there and eat. So that will be a very good thing. And then I also want to issue a quickie reminder that the next week, the 30th, is a fifth Sunday. It will be an unprogrammed meeting. So we won't have a, quote, regular worship service until the first Sunday in September. So there's one over there.
Yes. Okay. Hi, I'm Sue Walton, and on behalf of the Quaker Connect Committee, it's birthday Sunday, so with my assistant B, she got to choose the kind of cupcakes we have. We have chocolate and vanilla for all us Leos and Virgos, and they will be, because they can be messy, we're going to put the goodies in the dining room. There'll also be coffee and tea and good stuff like that as week 2 of our experiment. And those of you who do like peanut butter and chocolate chip, we still have some of those cookies available as well. So please come join us, and that can be your snack before you go to business meeting. Also, just a reminder, we do have our baskets for we're going to try in the next couple of weeks to make a run to Kunan because it's a time of need and things. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Linda Lassiter. I want to give you all the opportunity to participate in phone banking for getting voters out to vote in the midterm. We have set up at the Plainfield Library and the Brownsburg Library every Thursday evening from now until, I don't know, forever. From 5 to 7:30 p.m. And then there are some Saturdays, most Saturdays at the Plainfield Library. We will be there phone banking from 10 until 1. It would be great. We're trying to touch 24,000 people in the county, and we're about halfway there. We would like to get finished before the second phase of our field operations begin at the 1st of September. And this is not only for this year necessary, I mean, it is obviously for this year, but we're also putting together field structures for the election in 2028. It's easy to do. You talk about you're going to make 10 to 12 phone calls before somebody's going to pick up and you're going to actually talk to them. So you're going to be leaving a lot of voicemails. We have scripts for you. We'll teach you how to do it, how to go through it. It's pretty easy, and it would be absolutely wonderful if we could have your help. Thank you so much. Yes. Sure. Just, okay. You'll tell me how to do that, right? Oh, it's on the program, isn't it? Yeah, you guys are so good.
Linda Rocher on behalf of the Bicentennial Committee. You may have noticed when you came in a whiteboard out in the gathering area, and it's all things bicentennial. First of all, we're going to have a pitch-in on Sunday, September 13th, which is Bicentennial Sunday, following meeting for worship. So normally we don't have people sign up for the pitch-in, but because this is a special occasion and we're expecting quite a few guests, we don't want to have 50 desserts and 3 salads, so we're going to try to have that a more balanced approach. And it is not for the pitch-in next week. That is our normal bring what you want. But this is for Bicentennial. So we have the different categories. If you could sign your name, whatever dish you want to bring. And also there's a section where you can put a tally mark or a hash mark for each person that plans to attend that pitch-in. And that's not to say that you can't, if you don't RSVP, you didn't put the hash mark down, that you can't come. We just want to get a rough idea so we'll know how much food, how many tables to set up, and that type of thing. And also on Saturday, September 12th, from 1 to 4, we're having bicentennial activities here at the meeting as well. We need some people to help with light refreshments for that day. So there's an area where you can sign up if you want to bring cookies, if you're able to help serve the refreshments, and if you want to help with cleanup, which the cleanup will not be that burdensome. I envision we'll probably just be doing paper plates and napkins, so it might just be kind of wiping the counters off, wiping the tables down, making sure that the trash is gathered up, so it shouldn't be too burdensome. But if you could sign up for those activities, we would appreciate it. And lastly, the history subcommittee is working on a history book and the memory book. And electronic files will be available for both, but we also anticipate that we will have hard copies printed, and there will be no charge for either the electronic copy or hard copy. So we're asking if you can, again, just indicate if you want either the history book or the memory book or both in hard copy form. That will give us an idea of how many to print. We'll have the board up probably until the week before the bicentennial, so through September 6th. So you can go ahead and sign up if you need to give it some thought about what dish you want to bring or any of these other activities. And if there are any questions, a couple of us will be out in the gathering area. If you have questions about this, feel free to ask us, but it's going to be a very exciting and a very busy time. So we look forward to everybody participating in one way or the other. Thank you.
This is Steve Kirchhoff for the Funding the Future Committee. Just a reminder that next Sunday, August 23rd, at the pitch-in, you will have the opportunity to get the scoop on all the good services that folks from here are doing out in the community. We want to be sure that we've heard from everyone who would like to share their volunteer services. A number of you would have received that email from Laura Essex this past week as part of your email from Fairfield. Please do respond, confirm if you are interested in sharing your service with either me or with her. And also, some of you will have received individual emails, and because we were aware of things that you already were doing out in the community, please be sure to get back to Laura and confirm so we can have a list of all of those that are going to present next Sunday. So we look forward to hearing about all your good works and your good stories, and thanks for responding.
Hi, Linda Lynn. I want to give a shout out to Sandra. She's not here today. But the play that's being produced that she wrote and produces is showing as we speak at Indie Fringe Festival. And it's called Whatever Happened to Gulley. And several of us went on opening night, and I think some went yesterday, and it is a wonderful family-oriented thing. It is funny and pertinent. And our very own Bee is running the soundboard at the play and helped on some props. And I think, there's a performance today? What time?
12:30.
12:30? 2?
Oh, is it 2? Okay, sorry.
It's at 2. There's a card out front that you can scan it and look up the time. But if you're looking for something to do, and it's on next weekend also. So look into it because it's really fun.
All right, we change now to another announcement.
This is Rita Goss, and this week it rained, and it rained, and it rained. So when you got here this morning, you saw that the shingles are still laying on the driveway, but they are hoping that this week it's a little clearer and they will put the roof on this week. And I wanted to ask, you were talking about cleanup day being next Saturday. Are we also going to wash the windows? Okay, thank you.
Well, as you know, Joanne is retired now. She would have gone back to work this week, but she didn't have to. And I wanted to keep her a little bit unsettled. So I woke up on Tuesday morning and said, come on, we're going to go pick out grave sites. And so we did. I called the head trustee at Mill Creek Friends Meeting. They're southwest of Danville, just a beautiful little old Quaker cemetery out in the country, and I've always wanted to be buried there. And so we met with the cemetery trustee to pick out our grave sites. We're not hoping to fill them anytime soon. I've just, as a pastor, seen so many children whose parents die, and then the kids say, we have no idea what they wanted. And so I'm going to save our children this dilemma. As I said, we're not hoping to fill them anytime soon, but we intend to engage in riotous living after we both retire, so it does pay to be prepared. We're going to be buried right next to my freshman algebra teacher, Rosemary Helton, who, Bill, you knew. Yes. Whose funeral I conducted back in 1998. Mrs. Helton inspired me to become a writer after flunking her algebra class. She met me one day after school. She said, "Gulley, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And that week I wanted to be an engineer. I said, "This is why I'm taking your algebra class." She said, "Have you thought about writing?" And so I began thinking about that. But while walking through the graveyard, reading the names on the tombstones, which is my favorite pastime, I came across the gravestone of my childhood nemesis, who used to punch me in the shoulder whenever I'd pass him in the hallways in school. And I thought, when the trustee said there's space right here next to him, I said, "No, I don't like this area." I said, "Put me next to Rosemary Helton. And I want, who's all on the other side, so Rosemary is between me and my nemesis. So to get to me, he's going to have to come past her. So I think I'll be safe." Rosemary was a strong Quaker woman who didn't tolerate any nonsense and kept a close eye on things. And if he does get past Rosemary, if she lets her guard down, he'll have to get past Joanne. And that won't happen. I was explaining all of this to Joanne, and she said, "You do realize you won't be aware of any of this, don't you?" I said, "Who knows what happens? I've not died. Why risk it?" Most Christians think, we've been told, that when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. But as you are probably aware, I'm not a big fan of orthodoxy, so have my doubts about heaven and hell, and am picking my gravesite with the understanding that I might be there a while. It's quiet and peaceful out that way, and I could see spending quite a bit of time there enjoying it. It's right next to a sheep pasture too, which seems fitting for a minister. Faith has never been my strong suit. I've always struggled to believe the things I were told I had to believe in order to be Christian. I remember when I was a kid, Mom taking all of us 5 kids to Catholic church, and my father would stay home. His religion was the Sunday morning newspaper, so he would stay home, and then when we got home from church, he'd always lower the newspaper and ask me, "What did you learn today?" And I would say, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." So I've always been a doubter, which is an odd confession for a pastor. I'm a bit like Thomas in the Bible. I've always asked to put my finger in the wounds of Jesus before I believed. And Jesus has always said, "Go right ahead. I understand that." But even then, I've struggled with faith, which is why I've always been honest about that, to let that be known. I remember being fired from my first church after expressing doubts about the existence of hell. I remember that morning perfectly. We were driving to church, and Joanne said, "What are you going to talk about this morning?" I said, "I think I'm going to talk about not believing in hell." And she said, "I wouldn't do that." I said, "What can they do? Fire me?" Which, as it turns out, they could and did. I'm the Thomas who has always asked to put my fingers in the wound before I believed. And I realize in some ways this isn't ideal. Jesus did say, after all, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe," which is to say, all of us. I've always wanted to believe without seeing, without having to touch the wounds, but that's never been an easy thing for me. Not that I haven't tried. I guess I was around 20 years old and I had a Pentecostal friend who I invited to Quaker meeting, and he agreed to go, which surprised me. I discovered later he agreed to go to my church so I would go to his. And so he said, we're having a revival, and I'd like you to go with me. Well, you know, Quakers aren't big on revivals. We kind of prefer the slow, steady race, not the blaze of speed. But my friend had invited me, and what could I do? I owed him a church attendance, and so we went. And there was lots of singing and some speaking in tongues, which I found sociologically fascinating. And then it came time for the pastor to preach, and he began to preach, speaking about the joy of Jesus and the gift of faith, and the way he described it made it sound so lovely that I wanted that for myself. So I went forward, expecting something miraculous and immediate to happen, expecting my faith to ignite like a bonfire. And I kept waiting for that to happen, and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never did. The flames never quite leapt in the air. But now I realize I have only known faith as a flickering candle, struggling to catch hold and stay lit. And while I don't always have faith, I do know faith when I see it. So when I heard Robert Jeffress, the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Dallas, Texas, and an ally of Donald Trump, say that God had given Donald Trump permission to use nuclear weapons in Iran, I knew, even as I heard it, that that was not faith, even though Robert Jeffress said it was. When I heard Micah Beckwith, our lieutenant governor, champion Christian nationalism and urge us as Christians to learn to hate, I knew that wasn't faith, even though he said it was. I may not have faith myself, but I know faith when I see it. I know faith when I see it. I think I must have been a junior in high school. Yes, I was, junior in high school, when I noticed that every evening after supper, Mom would pack up the leftovers and leave the house for a couple of hours. And she never mentioned where she was going, and we didn't ask because we were teenagers and not interested. But one evening, my curiosity got the best of me, and I asked my mother as she was leaving, "Where are you going?" And it turns out she was going to the house of a woman who was elderly and feeble and poor and couldn't take care of herself, couldn't clean herself, wash herself, feed herself, and had no family in town who could help her. So my mother would take her food every evening and feed her, and then bathe her and get her ready for bed. She did this for quite some time. She had gotten the job because my father was the president of the Danville Town Board, and then when this woman needed help, she phoned my father to see if the town could send someone to help her. And my mother overheard the phone call and said, "I'll go do that." And off she went every night to help this lady she had never met. I remember being surprised by that and asking my mother, "Why are you doing that? You don't even know that lady." And my mom said, "If I don't do it, who will? If I don't do it, who will?" That is as fine a statement of faith as I have ever heard. If I don't do it, who will? If I don't speak up, who will? If I don't welcome immigrants, who will? If I don't extend a hand to the poor, who will? If I don't fight racism and bigotry and hatefulness and Christian nationalism, who will? Faith is not something we have. It isn't something we believe. It isn't a verbal assent to a creed. It is our commitment to a way of life. If we choose our company well, we will see faith in action. But we must choose our company well. If we hang around Robert Jeffress and Luca or Micah Beckwith, we won't see it, because faith can never be found where vanity prevails. It is found always in humble service, in caring, in loving, in reaching out. And this kind of faith always, always, always overcomes and is working to overcome the bleakness of our world. There's a Bengali poet, his name is Rabindranath Tagore, and he said this about faith, that faith is the bird that feels the light when the dawn is still dark. Faith is the bird that feels the light when the dawn is still dark. Friends, you and I live right now in a time of national darkness, when dawn has not yet come. It is possible in times such as these to feel the light of faith. And even if we cannot have faith, we can at least know it when we see it and give our assent to it. If we don't do it, who will?
I've been coming to Indiana since I was a little boy. Back in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I grew up, basically, the Friends Meeting didn't have a first day school, a Sunday school. So my experience was Sunday school at Little Ridge Friends in Fairmount, Indiana. And I've always been fascinated by the difference between that Quaker experience in the East and basically silent worship without the same evangelical Quakerism that we have in the Midwest. And I've thought recently, what is the difference? Because I hear the song, "Oh, he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own." That's a woman. No, it could be a man walking through a garden. And in that garden, he is walking with Jesus. And then I got to thinking about, after reading some of Adam Smith's the theory of moral sentiments. He said that within us, and this is trying to define religion, there is an unbiased spectator. Well, those are not religious terms, are they? But there's the same fundamental thing there. Whether you call it God, whether you call it an unbiased spectator, it's within you. And to me, that's the basic spirit of Quakerism. And how I love hearing the hymns as much as I enjoy thinking of that unbiased spectator who sometimes is very, very helpful to me, but I have to kick him around a little bit and make sure he behaves. It's a joy to be here, and I feel a sense of joy that I don't necessarily often feel when I go to meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our closing hymn is number 287 in the green hymnal, Worship and Song. And we need a couple people to come up and gather food.
going to have a word of the week. A word of the week. Resolute. Resolute. This week, I promise you, you will see someone say or do something mean and unkind. Do not ignore that. Be resolute. Say clearly, we can be better than this. Say resolutely what Paula taught us, the golden rule. Would you want to be treated that way? Be resolute, not abrasive, not mean, not harsh, but resolute. Resolute. Our word for the week. There will be a test next week. Come prepared. Turn and greet friends.